Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Ty Hauser. Let's queer up the USA view. Kamala Harris supports LGBTQ athletes with Outsports tagline, "Courage is contagious." Vice President Kamala Harris just gave a powerful nod to LGBTQ athletes and to a phrase many in the queer sports world know well, "Courage is contagious." It's the tagline of Outsports, a longtime platform uplifting LGBTQ voices in athletics. For years, Outsports has used the phrase to capture the ripple effect of bravery, how one athlete's decision to come out can inspire many others. And now, Harris is amplifying that message. Speaking at the Leading Women Defined Summit, Harris said, "Fear has a way of being contagious, and we are witnessing that, no doubt. But I say this also, my dear friends, courage is also contagious." She continued, "When one person, when a few stand with courage, the courage to say what is happening is wrong, the courage to say that there is a way we must chart to get through this, understanding our power, courage is contagious." End quote. From MSNBC to BET to even Stephen A. Smith, the phrase is making headlines. And for the LGBTQ sports community, seeing it embraced at the highest levels of government, well, that's a win. See, we could have had her as president.
Big prices, apparently.
But I love that. We still have supporters out there who are going to be standing up and continuing to promote our causes. In spaces where maybe they're not always promoted.
No, I think it's important to have people stand with us. I just didn't see that from Kamala Harris. I commend Outsports. Congrats that Kamala Harris plagiarized your motto, but she didn't say anything in behalf of queer sport athletes or trans people. And I'd like to know where her courage was when NBC News, Haley Jackson asked her to clarify her position on trans people, and she refused during the campaign. I'd like to know where her courage was when, as David Weigel of Sephomore reported, that a son of an immigrant was in tears asking about his mother and how to help people, and her response instead was to say she's going to have 1,000 new ICE agents. I'd like to know where her courage is.
I mean, fair enough. I understand, and certainly during the campaign, that's one thing. But do you not see a distinction between kind of post-campaign Kamala and campaign Kamala?
I think the time to be brave is during a campaign, not afterwards.
I agree with Alex. I mean, I think this is a little bit of a stretch. We want representation and we want inclusion, but she didn't say anything specifically about the LGBT sports, and so. While it's great that there's some similarities there and we can draw those parallels, and we can say, hey, we said that first, I have to agree with Alex. I think courage should be at the forefront. Look, I think she would have been 1,000 times better than what we have now. And that's saying not much. But I just, I'm glad that she's still out there. She's speaking and she's being, a woman of color and being boisterous, which is great. We need that more than ever. But I have to agree with Alex in this. I think this is a little bit of a stretch of a
I think that's a great quote. I have to agree with Alex. The only thing I think so harsh to Kamala is it's not just her, but the Democrats right after the election became very nasty towards trans people. And to see her record and the Democrats and then try to parrot Outsports motto, I think it's more of an insult to our community than
I was about to say Kamala and plus Gavin Newsom cozying up to right-wing talking heads and essentially back away from supporting trans athletes in schools. They are. I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to broaden their national appeal in places where trans issues is an automatic red line for some voters, but at the same time, have some guts. Speak up. If we are going to vote for same thing A or same thing B, why are we voting at all?
Is there no room left for subtlety in our discourse then? Is that totally something that we can't have?
I think that's a good question. Unfortunately, American politics is no longer subtle.
And I think
it isn't anymore.
Right. And I think a lot of us are jaded. It'd be nice to sit there and think, yes, she knows about Outsports and she knows that that's their motto, but does she really? We don't know.
Yeah. In fairness, I would agree with you on that point. Someone gave her this to say.
Right. Let's remember, for people want like me to say something nice about a Democrat, like Hillary Clinton famously said gay rights are human rights and human rights are gay rights. Women's rights are human rights. Like she walked the walk on more than one occasion. So, Bernie Sanders, another presidential candidate, has done that before. Joe Biden, for all my criticism of him, he did kind of accidentally forced Obama to become pro-marriage equality. And Kamala did have a good record on LGBTQ issues before she ran for president. But it's just, she's going to talk about courage. She invites us to ask us about her record on being courageous.
Fair enough. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBT